briefly mentioned the flood there or the river like being through so much in Asheville. And I was just curious what your experience of that whole situation was.
That was just wild. We were here, and I was 3 nights before we had the event. I was up at night being like saying, "How could it rain this hard for this long?" Like, imagine the most battering, pounding rain and being like 2 hours later, that level of rain is still happening outside. And that was 3 nights before. It was like 2, 3 nights this went on. So I like to watch Ryan Hall, y'all, which is like a YouTube
Hmm.
channel about weather.
Yeah, he tells us about our tornadoes coming through
Yes. Isn't he great? I don't
where
know
we
why I
are.
like it. But I like to have that on in the background. I think it's because my grandfather used to just listen to the transistor radio of all the policemen talking to each other and stuff in his art studio. But nonetheless, when we saw the hurricane coming up to Asheville on that radar, I already knew it was going to be really bad. And Caroline, my partner, I was like, it's been raining this hard. And she said, okay, this is our last chance. Go fill up the bathtubs so that you can flush and that you have water and everything. And we were like, we're going to go get food one last time. And we went out in that rain and it was crazy. Like, I am not a baby about rain and stuff, but I was like, we have to turn around. We have to. The drive was the craziest drive to the grocery store. And she pushed on and kept saying, we have to turn around. We were skidding. It was so dangerous. We finally get to the grocery store. And let me tell you, everybody in the grocery store was so calm and had no idea what was going on. I remember the guys at the meat counter being like, yeah, they said there could be some flooding. And Caroline and I are going around grabbing like all these groceries. Like, we knew that we weren't going to have electricity and power. We're grabbing like stupid things like peanut butter and jelly and cookies and all this stuff you're not going to have to cook. And I remember standing in line. There's people behind us just grabbing like one Snickers. We had our whole thing full of water. So the guy checking us out was just do. And I'm sitting there thinking, everybody needs to go home. Like everybody needs to go home now. And the store was not going home. They were just slowly bagging groceries. So that night we finally got home. We went to bed. And I mean, there's a whole story of what happened to our house. We flooded, the basement flooded, all these
Oh, wow.
sirens were going off really early in the morning. We walked outside. Everything was like Mountain Dew. It was like the sky was green. The energy was like really hot, warm, electrical energy. I mean, we were like, the trees were falling everywhere, everywhere. There was tornadoes. So we were like, we shouldn't be out here because trees are going to fall on us more. We had $30,000 worth of damage at our house, including trees falling and flooding. And just the weird thing about that was that nobody knew that was happening. And I knew. I don't know how I
Hmm.
knew, but I was like, that was too much rain. And Ryan Hall, y'all is showing it, but there were so many people caught off guard by that. And we lost something like 41 million trees. The Coast Guard was here saying honestly, he said there's at least 2,000 people dead, but they're not reporting that. They've said there's about 200 people dead, but there were huge trucks with bodies down at the hospital. There's some secretive stuff going on around that, but the land needs cleanup and needs support energetically. And I'm thinking of doing a 1-year anniversary process where if you want to hear about my idea for like a little bit of support of the land energetically, do you want to hear that?
I do, yes.
Yeah.
I
So
was listening to your podcast yesterday about the gold leaf around Quartz Points because I think you had recorded that sort of like newly after the event.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's this process in Peru, and I don't know if it came from the Inca traditionally or just the Andean tradition, the mystical tradition, even more recently, but they do a process where every year they basically create like a grid, and it looks like a mandala, like, because on 2 dimensions on paper, if they draw it out, it just looks like one point in the center with all these spokes around it in a mandala, but it represents all of the land. And they just come to the center of the land, wherever that is, and then they start drawing all this energy back through the grid lines. Like, it looks like a big weaving. And as they draw the energy back in the ceremony, they're cleansing the land. So they're cleansing, as they call it, hucha, dense or heavy energy or anything that's ready to gently transmute or release. They draw that energy back to the center point, and it's kind of like raking in and releasing all of the hucha or the dense energy into a center point. And I've been contacting some friends to go to the power spots in these mountains. So I've been kind of to my ritualistic and medicine weaving friends. I've been, what power spot do you want to go to? And we're going to have these 12 crystals, and you're each going to take one to one of the power spots. So people are kind of signing up for the power spots. And those 12 crystals, we'll do a process with them together first. So those 12 crystals understand their job. And then the friends will go, I'll place them at the power spot. So they're kind of like in big spokes around the wheel of the center. And then we'll do a ceremony at the center where we connect with all those crystals and just drag back together. Like it's like raking light through the whole area as a cleansing to help it cleanse dense energy and hucha. And then we kind of like release it and transmute it at our central fire, central ceremony. That is my idea right now for what we'll do for the 1 year anniversary.
Wow. That would be so incredible for everyone participating in that.
Well, they're
Yeah.
all excited to pick their spots and go to their spots. So we all were actually I was going to get 144 people, and we were going to go separate those into the spots and all hike to those spots. But I found that some of the spots, a lot of people can't make it, and we can't park, and I just can't get that big of a group out to all of those spots. So I thought,
Mhm.
especially my one mentor lives in this amazing mountain, but it's too hard for people to hike, but she can go up there. So if I get just my little groups to plant the crystals, then everybody can just meet in the center, and we can drag the energy back to that central ceremony.
Mhm. Will each spot have a different type of crystal, or what are you choosing?
The the idea right now is Arkansas quartz crystals, and I'm deciding if I want to, because I see this group that's available. And I'm deciding if I want to spend this much money on these crystals, and I might. We'll see. Or I'll go to something else. But I see these Arkansas quartz crystals that are these big natural points that I feel like would be good for them.
Yeah. Y Yeah, it's cool that you, though, would, because you have a crystal shop, so you have access to, like, all the right tools, right? It's like going over to your friend's house who's the woodworker, and he just, like, has the thing that you need to fix the cabinet door or whatever it is, you know? Uh,
That's right.
yeah.
I know the people that are directly digging the rocks and have, a sacred relationship with that. And I know where the rocks are, which is good.
I know that you do some rock hounding in your area as well. Is that right? You like to go and find the local. That was one thing I picked up from you, was like find the stones you like to work with that are from your neighborhood, or like as close as you can,
Yeah.
because they have a different frequency than if you get the Elmwood crystals, right? But they might not be that close to where you're from. Um, yeah, is there any that you particularly work with from your area?
Well, we just to kind of mirror what you just said, we have some land up in Burnsville that we have not. The plan is to move there. It's raw land, so we don't have that set up yet. But what I do there is that's really close to the most beautiful quartz in the world, the most high quality quartz in the world, very close to spruce pine. And when you walk on that land, you see, I have found transparent, smoky quartz crystals there, many, many beautiful quartz crystals, rock crystal. So what I'm doing there is just collecting those crystals from that land. And that will be the central point and the grid crystals and everything. So it's true. I think that as much as we can gather from the place that we're in, it's just the way to do it. It's like shop local. All those energies have an understanding of the energies that are there. There's always going to be black rocks and white rocks. And it's like it's just the best place to start. And it makes sense.